Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Sooner Surge. Hey, before we get started with this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, and like the video. We would appreciate it very much. Appreciate you guys, as always, watching the videos. Also, go to the Fan Stop, www.thefanstop.com. Check them out. Officially licensed OU merchandise. Sign up for the shirt of the month. Get 10% off your first 3 months if you use code SURGE. Great looking product. Go sign up for it today. Speaking of today, practice is underway officially. Got the helmets on, and they are officially practicing, which means it will be here before you know it, first game. So just kind of some thoughts as OU heads into fall camp here as they get prepped for game one. Just some things that looking for, Hunter, that maybe you're keeping an eye on that you're wanting to see in the fall.
I mean, I think the most important thing is how does the offensive line shape up for Oklahoma? That's a question with. I mean, they're replacing pretty everybody other than Jacob Sexton, Troy Everett injured, so not in that rotation right now. You also have Branson Hickman and Josh Bates at that center position. Would think Hickman is the starter, but I mean, who knows about Josh Bates? Was a 4-star recruit out of high school just 2 years ago. Has already been in the system now a year and 7 months as of today. Early enrollee last year. But then also, I mean, the opposite of Sexton at tackle, who is it going to be? That's the big question. Is it going to be Howland? Is it going to be Jake Taylor, Spencer Brown, Michael Tarquin? That's a position group of offensive line. You really need your 5 early, and you need your 5 to gel early as well. So that's something to monitor.
Yeah, and I think you're right there. And it's not only the fact that, they got guys that haven't played a lot at OU. I mean, that's big, but it's how are they going to play together? I think that's the most important thing. I mean, you may have a couple guys that are really talented, but do they play well together? Do they mesh? I think that was part of the problem last year, Hunter. It took a while before the offensive line meshed. And you remember the Savion Byrd issue. I mean, I remember the first 3 games, it was like, is he going to play? Is he not? I mean, what was going on? They got to get it figured out earlier this year. Let's hopefully in the fall camp they get 5 figured out that they're going to roll with and can get them out there game one and see how they do. Another position group, Hunter, I know we talked a little bit about before we came on, wide receiver. Wide open room, ton of talent. You got a few injuries there. Just kind of, what are your thoughts on wide receiver?
It's the most loaded room on the roster, I would say, and that's kind of something to monitor right now when, I mean, this is times where position battles are going on. This is where playing time is earned and won in that group especially. Joel Farouk missed some of spring with the foot injury. He was back today from a photo released from OU Football on X. You also have Deion Burks, the star transfer wide receiver that I think pretty much everybody thinks is going to be wide receiver 1 on this team in the slot. Nick Anderson last year, I mean, freshman All-American. You also have Jaden Gibson, who didn't get a whole lot of action last year, but when he did, he made the most of it. Again, Andrell Anthony coming back from an injury. Jaquez Petaway, that's a name that hasn't been talked about a lot. I mean, he had 9 catches his first career game last year against Arkansas State. You also have Brennan Thompson. I know I'm missing a few, even the younger guys. I mean, Zion Kearney as well, a freshman. There's so much talent in that room. What Emmett Jones has been able to do is impressive on the recruiting trail, both in high school and through the transfer portal. I mean, just looking at additions of Andrell Anthony and Deion Burks into that room. Anthony was there last year. But, again, there's probably going to be 3 that are out there on a consistent basis. I don't think they're going to go 4 wide a whole lot. So who are those 3 going to be? That's something to monitor.
Yeah, what's crazy, if you remember last year, Petaway was kind of the talk before the season, and now you're a year from that, and you're not hearing about him as much. I mean, I think that proves the depth of the wide receiver room and what they did, even in the portal, by getting Deion Burks. But you mentioned it. They got a whole lot of weapons there. How are they going to use them all? How are they going to rotate that? It's going to be interesting to watch. And who will be I kind of look like it, who's going to be the Andrell Anthony from last year? because he kind of transferred in. There was a little bit of talk, but not a lot. And then he came out at the first part of the season. He was our wide receiver one at the first part of the season, so he got injured. So I think everybody is kind of hyping Deion Burks as that guy. But will there be a guy that's kind of sleeper that comes on? We'll find out, as we get closer to the season. Another position group, running back. Everybody knows RB1, Gavin Sawchuk. And he is primed, in my opinion, to have a breakout season. I mean, primed, no injury. You remember last year he had that hamstring, I believe he was kind of nursing a little bit. He's ready to go. I expect big things from Gavin Sawchuk, but we all know, let alone in the Big 12, SEC, you're not going and reaching your goals with one running back. It's not happening. You got to have a stable back there where you can put a few guys back there and split some carries at some point in the season. And so who is running back two? That's the interesting thing. Caleb Hicks last year got a lot of praise as a freshman. Didn't get any action. Is he running back two? Is it going to be Franklin? Is it going to be Javonte Barnes? I mean, a lot of talk there too, Hunter.
Yeah, Caleb Hicks last year, 3 rushes, 14 yards. That's all he got. There wasn't a 1,000-yard rusher on the team. The leader was Gavin Sawchuk, 610 yards, and it really wasn't till the last 4 or so weeks that he really took over. It was just a weird year for running backs at Oklahoma. You had the kind of some O-line issues early on in the run game, and then just mixed with personnel, just clutter there between Tolly Walker, Javonte Barnes, injuries, Gavin Sawchuk, and Barnes both being banged up at times. Just a disappointing year last year for DeMarco Murray's position group. And I think this year, I mean, yes, Gavin Sawchuk is going to be the starting running back for Oklahoma. It's who's going to be that second guy. Again, you're going to need multiple guys in the SEC. That's just how it's going to be. There's already been injury concerns last year. I mean, you're playing in a much more physical league. Games are won in the trenches. Injuries are probably bound to happen, as much as it sucks, but that's just going to be the case. Is Javonte Barnes going to be able to take that position? He seems to be healthy. He talked about it a lot in the spring of just how difficult last year was for him. You also have Caleb Hicks this year. I mean, again, showed flashes at times last year of potentially being able to step into that role, never really got the opportunity. And then now it's year 2 for him. You also have Samuel Franklin, a transfer running back that, I mean, had over 1,000 yards last year. That's something to watch there. And then there's a borderline 5-star that just joined this room, his first official practice today, in Taylor Tatum, 4-star running back out of Longview, Texas, 2 sport guy, but very talented running back where, that room, I talked about it earlier with wide receivers. Position battles are going on right now. This is an important time of the year for that room of who's going to solidify themselves as running back 2 and kind of how that all falls down from Sawchuk through the rest of the rotation.
Yeah, and we spent a lot of time talking about the offense and haven't really mentioned the defense. And I think everybody from the outside, from national media, people that know Oklahoma, the defense should be the strength of this team because of the experience, because of the talent, all of it put together. Year 3 under Brent Venables. Last thing I'm going to say, and one thing I'm really looking forward to, is Billy Bowman's back. Everybody's talking about that. People talk about Peyton Bowen a lot. The name you don't hear a whole lot that I think is probably going to be the starting safety is RSJ, Robert Spears Jennings. I don't think he has gotten his opportunity to show people what he can really do. I think he's a kind of little bit of a sleeper that I think Sooner fans, when he plays, they're like, oh man, he can really lay the wood on somebody. But just haven't got to see him in a long, extended period of time. I do think there'll be a lot of rotation back there with Peyton Bowen and other guys, but I think that's a name that RSJ is a name that I think maybe will become a household name for Sooner fans this year.
Well, I mean, again, last year didn't get a whole lot of opportunities. Got some, did well, but watch what he did on special teams. Seemed like every time he got an opportunity, he is making a hit stick type of a tackle, just laying the boom down on the opposing team. And again, year 3 for him. Look at what Billy Bowman did in year 3 at Oklahoma. The jump he took, he really should have won the Thorpe last year, did not. He's back for year 4. I kind of think RSJ is going to have that kind of jump. And even if, say, RSJ is starting opposite of Billy Bowman, Peyton Bowen is going to play a lot. He played a lot last year as a true freshman before some injuries started to kind of prohibit that. He had the foot injury and just really wasn't ever the same from that point on. But I think with those 3, you're going really the 2 of RSJ and Peyton Bowen, you're going to see those 2 on the field a lot, maybe even all 3 on the field at once, depending on certain packages. I mean, you saw it last year with Peyton Bowen early in the season. And again, RSJ, local kid from Broken Arrow, year 3. I think he's going to take a massive step forward for the back end of this secondary for Oklahoma that really could be the best they've had in well over a decade.
Yeah, I agree, Hunter. And if you look at it in the past 2 years, probably the position back there that needed they needed a guy to step up is that other safety position, because I think Key Lawrence was great at times, but then would have some plays where big plays happen, and you just can't have that. So I do think this is a position solidifying it and having a great year in that position. I think will really even make this defense probably jump to another level. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there you have it. Just some opening thoughts about practice as it gets started, as far as camps gets going for the season. Hey, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Click the notification button, turn your bell on so you know when we go out with a video or when we go live. We go live every night, so 9:30. So thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.